is Cheryl, and I want to welcome you to our Book Bites. It's a cozy mystery book club or book chat, however you want to think of us. But Nicole and I decided we're going to change it up for the next 2 months. I'm going to do the book portion, and she will do the bite portion. So, on that note, has anyone tried any of the recipes that we've made so far, or any other recipes in the books? The pumpkin bars last month were just awesome. I always would make pumpkin rolls, but I think I found my new go-to for this time of year. I'm going to do the pumpkin bars. They are so much easier than the rolling in the powdered sugar and then unrolling and then rolling it back again, just so that you can get that nice round roll. You can just slap lots of icing on top, and it does the same thing. So, this month's book is the Raspberry Danish Murder Mystery from Joanne Fluke. I'm kind of new to cozy murder mysteries. I admit this is the first one I've ever read from this author. I tend to, if I read series, I usually like to read them from the start and then work my way along. I mean, this one I think is like book number 21 in the series. So, I mean, it does give you some good back story, but it just kept me wondering. So let me give you a little reading of what we're talking about here. So Thanksgiving was a way of thawing the frostiest hearts in Lake Eden, but that won't be happening for newlywed Hannah Swenson Barton. Not after her husband suddenly disappears. Hannah has felt as bitter as November in Minnesota since Ross vanished without a trace and left their marriage in limbo. Still, she throws herself into a baking frenzy for the sake of pumpkin pie and Thanksgiving-themed treats. While endless holiday orders pour into the cookie jar, Hannah even introduces a raspberry Danish pastry to the menu, and PK, her husband's assistant at KCOW-TV, will be one of the first to sample it. But instead of taking a bite, PK, who's driving Ross's car and using his desk at work, is murdered. Was someone plotting against PK all along, or did Ross dodge a deadly dose of sweet revenge? Hannah will have to quickly sit through a cornucopia of clues and suspects to stop a killer from bringing another murder to the table. So, yeah, it does give you some good backstory, but it left me hanging. I'm like, okay, if they're newlyweds, because it starts out saying, they're newlyweds, and I'm thinking, okay, well, how long were they together? How come she doesn't know him so well? But then it comes out and says that, they were college sweethearts. Well, he was her mad crush in college. But it's just like, yeah, so he just goes missing out of the blue. And to me, during this story right away, I'm thinking, there's usually only a few reasons why men disappear from a newly marriage, and that's either like another woman, or he's done something bad and he's escaping the law, or, it's just like he's up to no good. So, but I kind of knew along there was something wonky there. But she seems to have some really good friends and family support that are getting her through it. And, and she's, the detective. But let's see what she's going to be. She's a cookie baker detective. But it was very interesting. And I just found it kind of odd that, when he left the keys to his car in her sister's dresser drawer. I mean, why there? And then, but he leaves his keys to his car. So then how did he leave? But he didn't leave the keys to their condo. So it's just like, it gets you thinking. It's like, oh, what's up with that? So, but yeah, so, her friends are sleuthing out all the mysteries. And in the meantime, that PK, her husband's assistant, gets murdered. And then they're trying to find out who and how he died, whether it was involved with her husband or not. But it all comes through. But there was one thing that it's like, I almost stopped reading the book, because when she started saying how, she was worrying about her cat. I'm one of those people, it's like, don't make me read anything sad with animals, because I can't do it. I said, I can't do the sadness with animals. I said, oh, if something's going to happen to the cat, it's just going to like devastate me. So I'm thinking, no, I got to keep reading just because, I got to do a talk on it. So, but it all worked out, and it made me laugh that the cat was protecting the house from the RoboVac. I said it would have made it even funnier as if she came home and seen the cat riding the RoboVac. But I said I really liked how, it all came in the end that he was healthy and everything like that. And and then like another thing that I was fascinated about was like at the convention, they get there at the convention and they're making coffee. Did you catch it where they put an egg? They cracked an egg into the coffee grinds. So of course, I had to go and Google it, and it says that when you add an egg to your coffee grinds, it removes bitterness and the acridness to the flavor of the coffee, and because it like clarifies it. So, and it all came about by the early Scandinavian immigrant farmers from the 1800s. So it's like, because there was like no description of that, but, the librarian in me, it's like, hey, I got to check out this information. But I found that really neat and interesting. And then it's like how one thing led to another. And I couldn't follow how all of a sudden this Gary, their neighbor at the convention that they were selling the cookies at, how all of a sudden he was a suspect for the PK's murder. And I didn't follow that, but I probably just did one of those like glance over reading, but that I shouldn't do. But yeah, so then how it fell through and everything, all the information. But it was a good book. I enjoyed it, and like I said, I'm new to cozy mysteries, and I'm new to this author. I'm the teen librarian at the Kinsman Library, so I read a lot of YA. So that's something that you might want to try also. That if you are enjoying like cozy mysteries, where like the YA books are not so like graphic, if you're doing a mystery or a murder scene of somehow, or even love scenes, they're not real graphic, or real detailed. I say they give you the idea of what's going on, but they're not really in depth on like the details, like the gruesomeness or anything. So that's something to try too. If you ever want to branch out, try reading some YA. I mean, there's a lot of science fiction and fantasy in YA, but there is a lot of romance and detective mysteries too. So it would be something nice to try as a read. But I can't wait to see the recipe for this month. Miss Nicole's going to be making the maple crunch cookies out of here. They sound awesome in this book, and there's a lot of recipes in this book that I really want to try. But I enjoyed it, and I kind of at the end when it happened, I'm like, okay, I seen it coming. But so I think I will actually might read the next one, and I would have been a lot more prepared if I read the previous series books also, because it just left me, I kept having to guess. I'm like, but it was good. It made you think and everything. But I hope you enjoyed this little chat, and I hope you continue watching, and catch Nicole baking the maple crunch cookies. I want to thank you and hope to see you next month. Okay? Have a good day. Bye.
Hello! Welcome to the cooking portion of Book Bites this month. We are going to be making maple crunch cookies from the novel Raspberry Danish Murder. So you can come to the library and pick up your recipe, or check out the recipe. It's printed right in the book. So either way. So I have all my ingredients measured out, and we will get started. So in a large mixing bowl, you are going to place the 2 cups of white sugar and the 2 sticks of softened butter, just left out to room temperature. And we are going to beat those together until they're smooth and creamy. Okie dokie. Now we are going to add the eggs and beat them in thoroughly. And it says to whip them up in a glass with a fork first. Okay. And next we are going to add the maple syrup. And I gave a helpful tip for the maple syrup. It said to spray the measuring container with Pam or like a cooking spray first, and I'll make the syrup come out easier. So we'll see how that worked. Yeah, pretty good. And that is a half a cup of maple syrup. Okay. And then now we're going to switch to low speed and beat in the baking soda, baking powder, salt, and vanilla extract. So that's a teaspoon of each of those. Okay. And then next we are going to add the flour. So I have it measured all out. That is 4 cups all-purpose flour. And she recommends to pack the flour down in the cup when you measure it. As you're adding it, you're going to add it to the bowl in half cup increments and then mix after each one. Okay, so we added all of the flour. Now we are going to add the crushed cornflakes and the white chocolate chips. It's a half a cup of each of those. And you crush up the cornflakes before you measure, so it's crushed before. And we will add those in. And then I'm going to stir this in by hand. So right now I have a pretty thick cookie dough going on. It smells very good. And we have to chill the dough for at least an hour before baking. So I'm going to give this a final stir, and then I'll pop it in the fridge to chill, and we'll be back to bake it. Hello. Okay, So our dough has been chilling. I did chill it for a little over an hour, but according to the recipe, you can even leave it overnight too. So it's kind of nice if you need to make it ahead of time and then bake the next day. And one thing I noticed while it was chilling, I was reading over the recipe. I mistakenly only put in a half a cup of the white chocolate chips. It actually calls for 1 cup, so we definitely don't want to miss out on the chocolate. So I did add that in. And now we are taking the chilled dough and rolling it into walnut-sized balls. And then you are going to take a half a cup of just white sugar, roll those in the sugar, and place on your baking sheet. And it said to either grease the baking sheet or use parchment paper, and I used the parchment paper here. So the oven is preheating to 350 degrees, and then we are going to bake these for about 10 to 12 minutes or until they are golden brown. And then we will pull them out. And it says to cool them on a cookie sheet for no more than 2 minutes and then remove and put on a rack to finish cooling. So we'll get those put in and bake for about 10 minutes and we'll be back to check on them. So the cookies are out of the oven. I think I must have made mine a little bit bigger than the recipe intended. I ended up having to bake them for about 8 more minutes than it called for. So I think they might have been a little bit bigger, but they look pretty nice. You can see the chocolate chunks and the sugar, and it kind of has that nice crack. A little brown on the bottom. So let's have a taste. The maple is subtle but really good, and they're still warm out of the oven, so there's nothing better. I hope you enjoy making the cookies and reading the book. If you have any suggestions for upcoming cozy mysteries, let us know in the comments. Thanks!